The silent depth, understanding the beautiful complexity of deep thinkers in a world that celebrates quick responses and instant reactions. There exists a different kind of person, one who moves through life at their own thoughtful pace. These are the individuals who find themselves drawn to quiet corners, who listen with an intensity that makes others feel truly heard, and who can transform a fleeting moment into profound understanding. If you've ever found yourself pausing mid-conversation, not from uncertainty, but from the overwhelming rush of possibilities flooding your mind, you know what it means to be a deep thinker. It's not merely about intelligence, though that's certainly part of it. It's about possessing a different lens through which to view the world, one that reveals layers most people never notice. The architecture of a contemplative mind. Deep thinkers don't simply observe life. They absorb it. When they watch sunlight streaming through a window, they're not just seeing illumination. They're witnessing time itself, the way it transforms everything it touches. They notice how shadows shift throughout the day, how light creates different moods in the same space, how even something as simple as brightness carries metaphors for hope, change, and the passage of moments we can never reclaim. This isn't overthinking in the traditional sense, where overthinking breeds anxiety and worry about future scenarios. Deep thinking creates understanding and connection to the present. It's the difference between being trapped by your thoughts and being liberated by them. Research in neuroscience has identified what scientists call the default mode network, a collection of brain regions that becomes highly active when we're not focused on external tasks. In deep thinkers, this network operates like a powerful engine, constantly making connections, drawing parallels and weaving meaning from seemingly unrelated experiences. It's the same neural pathway that lights up during creative breakthroughs and moments of profound insight. This means that for deep thinkers, reflection isn't a luxury, it's as essential as breathing. Their minds are constantly engaged in what psychologists term elaborative processing, where new information isn't just stored but integrated into complex webs of existing knowledge and emotion. The weight of perpetual awareness, living with such intense internal processing, comes with unique challenges. Deep thinkers often experience what feels like mental overcrowding. Their thoughts don't organize themselves into neat sequential lines. Instead, they exist as interconnected webs, where pulling on one thread of thought inevitably leads to dozens of others. Consider how a deep thinker might process a simple conversation. While others hear words and respond naturally, deep thinkers are simultaneously analyzing tone, considering subtext, remembering previous interactions, predicting possible outcomes, and evaluating their own emotional responses. By the time they've processed all these layers, the conversation has often moved forward, leaving them feeling perpetually one step behind in social situations. This creates a peculiar form of isolation. Deep thinkers often find themselves surrounded by people, yet feeling fundamentally alone in their experience of the world. They long for conversations that dive beneath the surface, that explore the why behind the what, that acknowledge the beautiful complexity of human existence. Small talk feels not just boring but almost painful, like being offered a glass of water when you're dying of thirst for the ocean. The paradox of depth and connection, the very quality that makes deep thinkers so insightful, can also make them difficult to understand. Their pauses before speaking aren't signs of uncertainty. They're moments of careful calibration. They're sorting through multiple valid responses, considering the impact of their words, and searching for the most authentic way to express complex thoughts. In relationships, this creates both profound intimacy and occasional frustration. Deep thinkers don't engage in casual emotional exchanges. When they care about someone, they invest completely, seeing not just who that person is but who they could become, understanding their fears and dreams sometimes better than those individuals understand themselves. But this intensity can be overwhelming for others. Not everyone wants to be seen so clearly or understood so deeply. Many people prefer to keep certain aspects of themselves private, even from those closest to them. Deep thinkers, with their natural inclination to explore every facet of human experience, sometimes push too hard for connection that others aren't ready to provide. The creative burden of constant analysis. One of the most fascinating aspects of deep thinking is its relationship with creativity. The same mind that can find profound meaning in everyday moments can also create entirely new ways of seeing the world. Deep thinkers often excel in artistic fields, not because they're more talented, but because they're more willing to explore the uncomfortable spaces between certainty and doubt. They understand that creativity requires vulnerability, the willingness to express something that might not be understood, to reveal inner landscapes that others might find strange or unsettling. Their art, whether it's writing, music, visual arts, or even the way they approach problem solving in their careers, often carries an emotional weight that resonates deeply with others who share their contemplative nature. However, this same creative intensity can become paralyzing. When you can see infinite possibilities in every creative choice, making decisions becomes overwhelmingly complex. Deep thinkers might spend hours perfecting a single sentence, not from perfectionism, but from genuine uncertainty about which version best captures their intended meaning. The emotional ecosystem of deep thinkers. Perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of deep thinking is its emotional component. These individuals don't just think more, they feel more. Their emotional responses operate on multiple levels simultaneously. They might feel joy at a beautiful sunset while simultaneously experiencing melancholy about the passage of time it represents. This emotional complexity is often mistaken for moodiness or instability, when in reality, it represents a more complete experience of being human. Deep thinkers understand that emotions aren't obstacles to overcome but information to process. Sadness tells them what they value, fear reveals what matters to them, and joy highlights what they want to protect. Research in psychology has identified this as emotional granularity, the ability to distinguish between subtle differences in emotional states. Where others might simply feel bad, deep thinkers can identify whether they're experiencing disappointment, frustration, melancholy, or anxiety, and they understand how these different emotional states require different responses. This granular emotional awareness makes them exceptionally empathetic. They can often sense when someone is struggling even when that person is trying to hide it. They notice micro-expressions, changes in energy, subtle shifts in communication patterns that reveal underlying emotional states. This makes them wonderful friends and partners for those who appreciate being truly seen and understood. The challenge of living in multiple timelines. Deep thinkers rarely exist fully in the present moment. Their minds naturally drift between past experiences, present observations, and future possibilities. They might replay conversations from years ago, not from regret, but from a genuine desire to understand what those interactions revealed about human nature, relationships, or their own growth. This temporal fluidity gives them remarkable insight into patterns and connections that others miss. They can see how childhood experiences shaped adult behaviors, how current choices will likely influence future outcomes, and how seemingly unrelated events actually connect in meaningful ways. But this same quality makes it difficult for them to fully engage with immediate experiences. They might be physically present at a party, while mentally exploring the psychological dynamics of group interactions, the sociology of celebration, or the philosophy of human connection. Others might interpret this as aloofness when it's actually deep engagement, just not with the surface level of the experience. The modern struggle of deep thinkers' contemporary society poses unique challenges for contemplative minds. We live in an era that rewards speed over depth, reaction over reflection, and certainty over nuanced understanding. Social media amplifies this tendency, creating environments where complex thoughts must be compressed into brief, digestible formats that inevitably lose their subtlety and depth. Deep thinkers often feel like they're speaking a different language in professional and social environments. Their natural inclination to explore multiple perspectives can be seen as indecisiveness. Their need for processing time can be interpreted as inefficiency. Their questions about fundamental assumptions can be viewed as disruptive rather than insightful. This cultural mismatch often forces deep thinkers to develop a kind of emotional camouflage. They learn to nod along with conversations that feel superficial, to provide quick responses when they'd prefer to reflect, and to hide their natural depth behind socially acceptable facades. The energy required for this constant translation between their internal experience and external expectations can be exhausting. The gift of seeing patterns. Despite these challenges, deep thinkers possess remarkable abilities that benefit not just themselves but everyone around them. Their pattern recognition skills allow them to identify problems before they become crises, to understand the root causes of conflicts rather than just their symptoms, and to see connections between seemingly disparate fields of knowledge. In professional environments, deep thinkers often become the people others turn to for complex problem solving. They can hold multiple variables in their minds simultaneously, consider long-term consequences of short-term decisions, and approach challenges from angles that others haven't considered. Their questions, even when they seem to slow down processes, often save time and resources by preventing mistakes or missed opportunities. Their ability to see patterns also makes them natural philosophers and meaning makers. They can find significance in experiences that others dismiss as random or unimportant. This gives them a unique resilience. Even negative experiences become sources of learning and growth, rather than simply obstacles to overcome. The delicate balance of solitude and connection. Deep thinkers require more solitude than most people, not because they're antisocial, but because processing requires space. Social interactions, especially superficial ones, can feel like sensory overload. They need quiet time to sort through the emotional and intellectual input they've absorbed, to make sense of complex interactions, and to reconnect with their own thoughts and feelings. This need for solitude is often misinterpreted by others as rejection or disinterest. In reality, deep thinkers often long for connection more intensely than those who seem more socially engaged. They simply need that connection to be meaningful rather than casual. When deep thinkers do find their people, others who appreciate depth, nuance, and authentic communication, those relationships become profoundly important to them. They invest heavily in these connections, remembering details that others might forget, checking in during difficult times, and celebrating successes with genuine enthusiasm. Their loyalty runs deep because they understand how rare true understanding is. The art of thinking about thinking. One of the defining characteristics of deep thinkers is their high level of metacognition, awareness of their own thought processes. They don't just have thoughts. They observe themselves thinking, analyze their own reactions, and constantly refine their understanding of how their minds work. This self-awareness is both a strength and a potential weakness. On the positive side, it allows them to recognize their own biases, understand their emotional triggers, and continuously improve their thinking processes. They can catch themselves when they're falling into unproductive thought patterns and redirect their mental energy toward more constructive directions. However, this same self-awareness can lead to analysis paralysis. When you're constantly monitoring your own thoughts, it becomes difficult to think spontaneously or trust your instincts. Deep thinkers might second-guess themselves not from lack of confidence, but from awareness of how many factors influence their judgments. The evolution of deep thinking. Interestingly, the challenges of being a deep thinker often evolve throughout life. Young deep thinkers might feel isolated and misunderstood, struggling to find their place in social hierarchies that don't value their particular gifts. They might be labeled as too sensitive or overthinking things by well-meaning adults who don't understand their need for processing time. As they mature, many deep thinkers learn to appreciate their unique perspective and find ways to use their gifts constructively. They might gravitate toward careers that value analysis, creativity, or understanding of human nature. They learn to communicate their insights in ways that others can appreciate, and they develop strategies for managing the potential overwhelm of their own mental intensity. In later life, deep thinkers often become sources of wisdom for others. Their years of reflection and analysis have given them deep insights into the human condition, and their natural empathy makes them excellent counselors, mentors, or simply friends who can offer perspective during difficult times. The paradox of seeking simple truth in complex reality. Perhaps the most profound aspect of deep thinking is its relationship with truth and meaning. Deep thinkers are often in search of fundamental truths about existence, relationships, purpose, and human nature. They want to understand not just what happens but why it matters, not just how things work but what it all means. This quest for meaning can be both fulfilling and frustrating. The more deeply they explore any topic, the more complex it becomes. Simple answers reveal themselves to be incomplete, and complete answers prove to be impossibly complex. This can lead to a kind of philosophical restlessness, a constant sense that there's always more to understand, always deeper levels to explore. Yet this same complexity that can be overwhelming also provides deep thinkers with a rich, nuanced experience of life. They might struggle with the ambiguity of existence, but they also experience beauty, love, and understanding in ways that are extraordinarily rich and multifaceted. Finding peace in the storm of thought. The ultimate challenge for deep thinkers is learning when to stop thinking and start living. Their natural inclination toward analysis can sometimes prevent them from fully experiencing the joy, spontaneity, and simple pleasures that make life meaningful. They might understand love intellectually while struggling to feel it completely, or analyze happiness while missing opportunities to experience it. The healthiest deep thinkers learn to see their analytical nature as one tool among many, rather than the only way to engage with life. They develop practices that anchor them in immediate experience: meditation, creative expression, physical activities, or service to others. They learn that some truths are found not through thinking, but through being, not through analysis, but through acceptance. They discover that wisdom isn't about having all the answers, but about becoming comfortable with uncertainty. They learn to appreciate mystery rather than always trying to solve it, to find peace in questions that don't have clear answers, and to trust that understanding will emerge naturally rather than forcing it through constant analysis. The beautiful burden of depth. In the end, being a deep thinker is both a gift and a responsibility. These individuals serve as society's philosophers, artists, and meaning makers. They ask the questions that others don't think to ask. They see the connections that others miss, and they feel the full weight of human experience in all its complexity. Their struggles with fitting into a fast-paced, surface-level world are real and challenging. But their contributions, the art they create, the insights they share, the empathy they offer, and the depth they bring to human relationships are invaluable. Deep thinkers remind us all that life is meant to be contemplated, not just lived. They show us that pausing to reflect isn't weakness but wisdom, that asking questions is more valuable than having quick answers, and that understanding ourselves and others is one of the most important work we can do. In a world that often feels shallow and hurried, deep thinkers offer something precious. The reminder that beneath the surface of everyday life lies an ocean of meaning, connection, and beauty waiting to be explored. They invite us all to slow down, to think more carefully, and to appreciate the profound complexity of being human. For those who recognize themselves in this description, know that your depth is not a flaw to be fixed but a gift to be honored. Your questions matter, your insights are valuable, and your way of seeing the world offers something that others desperately need, even if they don't always know how to ask for it. The world needs deep thinkers now more than ever, people who can see beyond the immediate, who can hold complexity without being overwhelmed by it, and who can find meaning and connection in an increasingly fragmented world. Your contemplative nature isn't a burden to bear, but a light to share, illuminating truths that might otherwise remain hidden in the shadows of our busy, distracted lives.